Kelly. And thanks to Menla and Nathan and everybody at the Dzogchen Foundation whose efforts keep these amazing town hall get-togethers happening every week. It's incredible. And especially to our dear, dear Lama Surya. We're really happy to be here today. As Kelly said, I'm Elizabeth, and this is my husband, John, and we're joining you from the woods in Brooklyn. Today you get a two for the price of one. It is wonderful to be together as a Sangha from all parts of the country and around the world, newish and longtime students of Lamas, to deepen our practice together. We are deeply grateful to Lama Surya for so selflessly sharing his wisdom and love with us, and for our connection to each other and to this beautiful lineage and practice. When John and I first saw Lama teach back in 2002, we had young kids, and as our kids have grown, we've tried to grow up as well. Lama's profound teaching is a gift that continues to unfold and deepen in our lives. 20 years later, we are honored to have discovered Sangha, this amazing collective, as an expression of family in the deepest sense. And as Timo reminded us last week, Thich Nhat Hanh, the venerable Buddhist meditation master and teacher, said, the next Buddha may be the Sangha. So as I look at all of your beautiful faces, all Buddhas both becoming and most importantly, just being, we gather for the benefit of all beings while joyfully awakening right now. Or at least as my Tai Chi teacher says, loosening our shoelaces. So John and I would like to talk a bit today about as it isness. Arriving here and now, as we know, may sound simple, but it is not always easy. There are infinite situations and demands calling for our attention, whether attending to the needs of an aging parent or sick child, a suffering friend or colleague, or taking care of the ordinary tasks of daily life. I'm in the midst of a number of challenges demanding my attention these days, so just arriving and opening to the amazing fullness of this moment is a tall order. But it is the invitation available to every one of us all the time. Just feeling our body on the seat, our breath and energy, and our minds as they are right now. As Lama says, the present has arrived. When are we going to open it? Nothing is more profound than the invitation to just be, to drop our to-do lists, and in the words of Ram Dass, really be here now. For me, making music has always been the most available opening to nowness. Maybe it is for you too, or maybe it's gardening or walking your dog, cooking, or yoga, or painting, or something else. Music can attune us to the totality of human experience, the experience and expression of joy, loss, laughter, and suffering. As Lama says, through the lens of Zorba the Greek, the whole gorgeous catastrophe. On a deeper level, though, it can draw us into mystery. Where is the sound coming from? What is the source? Who is actually making it? Where does it go? For me, that opening of making music and of music itself is an opening into vast mystery, a glimmer of the inexpressible. Chanting is an embodied expression of Dharma, the union of sound and mantra or prayers with the lineage and the entire invisible array of practitioners, masters, and teachers whose incredible effort and benevolence brought us these precious teachings. So let's begin our practice with the 7-line supplication. Can you please put up page 1? Thank you so much. Om Wujin Yuji Nuk Jang Sam Pema Ge Sa Dong Po La Ya Zacen szoki nudrubnie, Hema dżumnie Jezu drak, Kodukan romango Kieki Jesu dadruki, Jinji lapshishek suso, Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Benza 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 Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. One of the things that I sometimes feel when chanting is a sense of awe underlining the chant, running through it, permeating it, kind of like the string connecting the beads on a mala. Just in the way that the bead is the whole and not separate, the ah inside the chant is an invitation to experiencing that wholeness. The exhale of isness, of presence, or as the ancient Chinese philosopher Chuang-Tzu says, resting at the origin of all things. So if you'd like, please join me in a deep breath, just releasing and allowing. Let's do that again. And as Lama Roger says, relax twice as much. Noticing your mind now. On this third and final breath, let's release all the air and just let go and let be, merging our body, breath, and energy as one Sangha, one Buddha, resting in this moment. Less is more. Awesome. I try to remember that same spaciousness and openness is flowing through us always, regardless of whether our outward circumstances seem relatively difficult or challenging or smooth. And when we drop our worries and plans, resting and letting go, letting come and go, in that gap, we experience the miraculous and ineffable now. Things as they really are, not as we want them to be. It is that in-between space that we can play in right now for our own sanity, ease, and for the boundless benefit of one and all. Over to you.
Thank you. Well, hi. So I'd like to continue on the theme today of leaving things as they are. Lama Surya often says that nirvanic peace is found in things left just as they are. And this teaching of leaving it as it is deeply woven into the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. One example is Tilopa, the 7th century Buddhist monk in the Kagyu lineage, who gave these instructions, which are called the 6 words of advice, to his disciple Naropa. Don't recall. let go of what is past. Don't imagine, let go of what may come. Don't think, let go of what is happening right now. Don't examine, don't try to figure anything out. Don't control, don't try to make anything happen. Rest, relax right now and rest. Ken MacLeod, who translated this particular translation of Tilopa, claims that in Bengali or Sanskrit, whatever language he translated it from, that actually boils down to 6 words. I'll leave it to you to figure out how that's possible, but the advice is sound however many words it is. But leaving things alone, as Tilopa advises, is essentially an unnatural act for us humans. We have a deep evolutionary drive to do things, to fix them, to make, to address, to secure, to understand, to figure out, to protect, and on and on. Our ancestors, who didn't have that drive to strive, they starved to death, they froze to death, they got eaten by saber-toothed tigers. So they didn't actually become our ancestors at all. The ones who thought to themselves, hey, I better not just sit here and enjoy the nice weather, I'd better build a shelter or make some arrowheads or figure out the complex multi-step process for growing rice, that's our heritage. So hey, Tilopa, how is it even a good idea to leave things as they are? Things are obviously a mess the way they are. The world is a chaotic, frightening, and deeply problematic place in countless ways. And we all have responsibilities. We have bills to pay, emails to answer, people and things to take care of. But who is it that has to do all that stuff? I mean, to me, it seems like I do, or at least I think I do. I feel like there's a little mini me who kind of lives behind my eyes with its hands on the controls of my body and mind, who's in charge of everything, and particularly in charge of taking care of my business and making sure that the Me Project, the John Project, John Incorporated, that whole enterprise survives and flourishes. And that little imagined mini me is a very judgy fellow, categorizing every single thing I encounter into 3 buckets: good for me, bad for me, or the ever popular, I just don't care. And I'm not making this up. Buddha himself made this same set of distinctions. Quoting Buddha, he said, bhikkhus, which is basically, yo, hey monks, there are these 3 feelings. What 3? Pleasant feeling, painful feeling, and neither painful nor pleasant feelings. These are the 3 feelings, unquote. So about a decade ago, I was struck by this while I was sitting at work one day, and I was reading emails, as many of us do all the time, and realized that I was doing just that. Every single email, what was really going on in my mind was, hey, is this good for me? Is this bad for me? Or do I just not care one way or another? And I think if you introspect, you'll see that you do that all the time too. And there's good kind of neuropsychology and evolutionary biology that's verified this. Scientists have found that we do exactly this kind of categorization. And, for good evolutionary reasons. Imagine our ancestors out on the savannah evaluating everything that came into their purview in terms of its survival value. Should I eat it? Should I run away from it? Should I try to mate with it? Or should I just ignore it? But just because we've evolved this way doesn't mean that that's a great recipe for happiness. We evolved to pass our genes on to the next generation. The goal of evolution wasn't to make us happy. And that is, in fact, Buddha's punchline. In this teaching about the 3 senses, he said that all 3 feelings, even pleasure, are types of suffering. And we should stop that categorization. Eckhart Tolle pointed out essentially the same thing, that there's a little ego, a little egoic self, a little me in every thought. That there's an egoic me-based agenda based on judgments of good for me, bad for me, or hey, whatever, I don't care. But consider this. Where does this ego-based agenda, where do your problems and responsibilities exist right now as you sit right on your spot? As one Zen master used to ask, what's wrong with this moment? And consider this question from Buddhist teacher Locke Kelly. What if there were no problem on the level of ego, no problem on the level of identity, no problem on the level of thought? Just imagine that for a moment. Then how would it be in the absence of a problem to solve on the level of your identity? Who would be left? What would be left? What would be going on right now? Fans of teacher Byron Katie might recognize this formulation as a version of her fourth question. Who would you be without this thought? Okay, so how does pretending that there's no problem on the level of identity help at all? There's still reality, right? I mean, well, to the extent that there really is reality. When I turned 60, I was trying to kind of think of what I had learned, in my 60 years, and I came up with a very short list. But one of the things on the list was I decided a primary, piece of wisdom that I've arrived at is that the word reality should always be preceded by the phrase so-called. So no one should ever say reality; they should always say so-called reality. Or you could say consensus reality, that works also. But let's not go down that rather profound rabbit hole right now. Let's assume for the moment that there are problems and obligations on the level of identity. So I think that framing highlights the crucial point. There are other levels beside just the level of identity. There are more fundamental levels. And in our practice, it helps to touch those levels, to touch the absolute, to touch naked awareness. And leaving it as it is a practice of unbinding ourselves from the shackles of thought and touching our true nature, our boundless awareness, touching the level on which there is never really any problem. Our minds are like a mirror that remains unperturbed, reflecting everything, whether good, bad, or ugly. And yes, sure, we still need to brush our teeth, we still need to feed the dog, but we can practice, at least while we're sitting here and meditating, or better yet, non-meditating, we can practice leaving things alone, at least for a while. For most of us, the danger isn't that we won't do things, it's that we never stop doing things. This practice, as Lama Surya says, is designed to undo the habit of overdoing, at least for now. I spent a lot of years in the Zen tradition, and Zen master Dogen, the 13th century Zen monk who brought Zen, which is Chan in Chinese, but brought it from China to Japan, put it this way in his universal instructions for Zazen, which is sitting meditation. He said, quote, "Put aside the intellectual practice of investigating words and chasing phrases, and learn to take the backward step that turns the light and shines it inward. Body and mind of themselves will drop away, and your original face will manifest." Taking the backward step isn't about positioning ourselves in the middle. It's about not positioning ourselves in the middle of everything and in relationship to a imagined us. There's a subtle effort that we basically always make in seeing, in hearing, and thinking that's all being projected from this imagined center. And Dogen is inviting us to take it easy, to just let all that be instead of rushing out to meet it, and instead of forming these relationships with everything we see, with everything we hear and putting that value valence that we were talking about onto every sense experience. It's possible also to take this attitude of leaving things as they are and taking the backward step to our lives off the cushion. The lives where we have to file tax returns and communicate with annoying relatives. It's possible to forget ourselves, to leave our egos behind, and to forget about what's in it for us, to act from a place of relaxed spaciousness, to be in the flow, to be in the zone, to cultivate stillness within motion. It's what the Taoists call Wu Wei, doing non-doing, or really living from a place where there's never really anything to do. So about 10 years ago, Elizabeth and I saw Lama Surya do a teaching at Tibet House. And like, Cap Day at a baseball game, it was bookmark day at Tibet House. And they were giving away these bookmarks that, had some upcoming events on one side, but on the other side, it had a free and easy, spontaneous Vajra song by Venerable Lama Gendun Rinpoche, which I think is the best bookmark, most profound bookmark I've ever seen. And it really sums up all of the teachings. I have a book in the other room by Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche, which is volume 1 of 2 volumes. It's entitled As It Is, but in that wonderful way of Buddhist sutras, where you can have the 100,000 line version, or the 10,000 line version, or the 100 line version, or the 3 line version, or the 1 word version. This bookmark does a pretty good job of capturing everything, so I'm going to read it to you. Here's what Lama Gendun said. Happiness cannot be found through great effort and willpower, but is already present in open relaxation and letting go. Don't strain yourself. There's nothing to do or undo. Whatever momentarily arises in the body-mind has no real importance at all. It has little reality whatsoever. Why identify with it and become attached to it, passing judgment upon it and ourselves? Far better to simply let the entire game happen on its own, springing up and falling back like waves, without changing or manipulating anything. And notice how everything vanishes and reappears magically, again and again, time without end. Only our searches for happiness prevent us from seeing it. It's like a vivid rainbow which you pursue without ever catching, or a dog chasing its own tail. Although peace and happiness do not exist as actual things or places, they are always available and accompany you every instant. Don't believe in the reality of good and bad experiences. They are like today's ephemeral weather, like rainbows in the sky. Wanting to grasp the ungraspable, you exhaust yourself in vain. As soon as you open and relax this tight fist of grasping, infinite space is there, open, inviting, and comfortable. Make use of this spaciousness, this freedom and natural ease. Don't search any further. Don't go into the tangled jungle looking for the great awakened elephant who is already resting quietly at home in front of your own heart. Nothing to do or undo, nothing to force, nothing to want, and nothing is missing. Imaho, marvelous. Everything happens by itself. So, I love that, I gotta say. I love that. So forgive me for reading it at length, but I wanted to share it with you. None of this is theoretical. None of this is none of this is, ideas or a treatise that can't be put into practice. It's all practicable, and that's what we're going to do right now. So let us go into meditation, and we need to have a little dedication first, right? Which is Hang on, we're getting our text straightened out. We have to hear something. Ah, yeah. So Kelly, could you bring up the bodhicitta and 4 bodhisattva vows? Great, thank you. And unlike Elizabeth, whose happy place is in music and chanting, mine is decidedly not. So as my gift to you, I'm not going to try and do that. But we will, I will read for you the bodhicitta dedication and the 4 bodhisattva vows. From now until reaching perfect Buddhahood, for the benefit of all sentient beings without exception, I shall practice the 6 perfections wholeheartedly, day and night. And now the bodhisattva vows. Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible. We vow to transcend them. Dharma teachings are boundless. We vow to realize them. The Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. We vow to embody it. Okay, so let's all find a comfortable seat. Take a breath. Exhale. And prepare to just let everything be exactly as it is. Exhaling is a great way to start. Activates our parasympathetic nervous systems, our relaxation response, relaxing as it is. Non-meditation, nothing we have to do. You don't even have to try to be aware. Awareness is already there. Just by doing nothing, we let it emerge. As it is. Effortless, relaxed. Just breathing. So what if there really were no problem that we had to solve right now? What if we could just let everything be just as it is? Then what experience is there? Without a problem to solve, who or what is left? What is this? Taking the backward step out of our sense of ego, the dharmic nesty plunge, um, letting our senses go soft. We don't have to reach out to see or reach out to hear. Seeing is happening, hearing is happening. It doesn't need to be any us that it's happening to or that's watching it. Turn the light around, shine it inward. See who or what is there. If you have a vast, spacious awareness, no center. let go of judging good, bad, or neutral. Just awareness, aware of itself. Vast, limitless, infinite space, aware. As it is. Paul McCartney was right. Just let it be. Just rest, relax, right here. Nothing to do or undo. Resting our weary hearts and minds. Resting. Rising and falling back. Everything happens by itself. Ah.
Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Just feeling the sound and breath. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Resting and releasing. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Just allowing. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Leaving it as it is right now. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Resonating together. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Sending love and compassion to ourselves. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Compassion for all beings. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Letting come and go. Easing up. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. One as one. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Mani Padme Hum.
Kelly, could you please bring up the dedication prayer and new millennium prayer on page 14? Beautiful, thank you. Through the merit of this, may the light of the Buddha's precious teaching remain for ages to come, the ground for every single kind of benefit and happiness. May all the supreme holders of the teaching who uphold its living truth accept to live for eons and their lotus feet stand firm. And so may the sun of altruism and well-being in all its blazing splendor shine the brilliant light of study and practice of Buddha Dharma throughout every corner of the universe.
And Lama Surya Das's New Millennium Prayer. May all beings everywhere with whom we are inseparably interconnected and who want and need the same as we do, may all be awakened, liberated, healed, fulfilled, and free. May there be peace in this world and throughout all realms of existence, an end to war and violence, poverty and hunger, inequality and oppression, greed and cruelty, pandemics, famine, droughts, earthquakes, and all kinds of natural disasters. May all be free from fear, harm, danger, anxiety, and insecurity. May we better prepare ourselves for the natural calamities that beset us all. And may we all together complete the spiritual journey, one beloved community, one circle, one family, all the way home.
So does anyone have any questions or anything that they would like to share in our few remaining moments?
And feel free to either send your question directly to me in a chat, or we can try it the old-fashioned way where you just raise your hand. So yeah, any sharing, any questions, and we will scan the screen.
Thank you all so much. It's been really, really fantastic to be with you, each and every one of you. Thank you for your presence, for your practice. Really appreciate it. And if anything, if nothing comes up, Sounds like you're leaving it all as it is.
Exactly.
Thank you for the beautiful teaching. It was really wonderful to watch you play off of each other and watch your strengths and your wisdom channel through separately and together. So thank you. That was a gift. We loved it.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank
Thank
you
you.
guys, all of you so much. Have a wonderful day.
In the chat, before we hang up here, in the chat there, I linked to Talopa's 6 words, as well as to the spontaneous Vajra song, which is a YouTube link. So you're welcome to copy and paste from there. And just as a reminder, we have our masterclass coming up on September 10th. The link to register for that is in the chat as well, or you can go to dzogchen.org. And we have a one-day retreat coming up, I believe on October 1st. Don't quote me on that. I think I might have gotten that wrong. Let's see here. See if I can get it right. Yes, Saturday, October 1st at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So we hope to see you at any and all of these events. And as always, the Dzogchen Center runs on donation. So anything you can do, even if it's just $1, goes a long way to keep these teachings going and supporting the foundation. So love to you all, and thank you. So Nathan, I just leave the meeting open for a few more minutes so that people can get into the chat and access what we've put there before I end it for all. If you end it too quickly, they don't have a chance.
Perfect.
Kelly, is there any way to copy and paste the quote from Ken McLeod?
You know, it's a great question, Leo. I thought you could get into the chat, but
I highlighted it, but I pressed Control, copy on my machine, and it just
doesn't
makes
work.
a dingy noise. Anyway, thanks for answering.
Yeah, you know what? Let me send you the link, Leo.
That would be great.
There's actually a tricycle. I got it from a tricycle article here.
I get tricycle. If you give me maybe I could find it.
It's the 6 nails here. If you just look, if you type in tricycle Talopa's 6 nails, let me see if I'll put it in the chat, see if you can get to it. But
Thanks.
maybe you can click on the link and it'll bring you there.
All right, let me see the new messages. Where's the boss this week?
He is resting. He'll be back soon. He's a little sabbatical.
I'll bother him wherever he is.
He's taking a much needed break.
Yep.
Did you find?
Yeah, I found up with 6 nails. Thank you so much. Nice to see you, and thanks for doing all you do for the organization.
Thanks, Leo. So always so nice to see you.
Thank
Be well.
you. You as
Thank you.
well.
All right. Nathan, thank you.
Thanks,
See you.
Kelly.
See
Good
you
to see
guys
you.
next week.
See you next week.